I've been asked this thousands and thousands of times over the last 20 years. How many calories do I eat? What are my macros? The truth is, I wouldn't even be able to tell you. I have absolutely no desire to track my calories. I have absolutely no desire to count my macros. But I still want to be in phenomenal shape across the year, every single year. So how do I do it? In this short episode of the Kirk Miller Podcast, I'm going to be really simplifying how you can achieve peak shape without obsessing over calories. And this might get a little bit of flack from other trainers if they listen to this, thinking, oh, you can't do that. Of course, if you follow a meal plan, you track your calories, and you're not where you want to be with how you look, will you create more predictable progress if you track your calories 100% accuracy, follow a diet plan? Of course you will. But I'm just being realistic here. Having coached so many people to a great body, millions and millions of people don't want to track calories. They don't want to follow a fixed meal plan, or their lifestyle doesn't allow them to do that, especially if they or you are an entrepreneur who travels as holidays, wants to enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's not always practical. But if, like the people investing in us and myself, you have an expectation of being in great shape, you're going to need to do something. So I just want to share very, very simply what I do to stay in shape without obsessing over calories, tracking via MyFitnessPal, etc. If you have that expectation, you're going to have to do something to measure your progress and keep an eye on some form of stat. And if you don't want to measure and manage the exact calories going into your mouth, whether it's on a pen and paper, whether it's via a tracking app such as MyFitnessPal, you're going to have to measure something. For me, what I do very, very simply, and I've said this so many times, but I just wanted to dedicate one episode solely to this because it's a big problem and people overcomplicate it. If you don't obsess over calories and track your calories, but you want to be in phenomenal shape, you have to weigh yourself regularly. I do it every single day because the average of your weight every single week is going to determine whether or not you are eating too much food, eating maintenance food, or you're in a deficit. That's going to be the outcome KPI of the amount of food going in relation to your movement. And if you don't like the trajectory of the way that number on the scales is going, whatever you've done previous to that, the previous 7 days, isn't aligned to the outcome you want. So something needs to change. So what I do is I weigh myself every single day, and my average weekly body weight will be the daily body weights added up divided by 7. That is my official average daily body weight across that given week, because it will fluctuate. Every single day is never going to be the same. Mine can fluctuate by a couple of kilograms at least, but the average of that will be your body weight. So I do that every single week. The second thing I do, I've said this on a previous podcast when I was talking about accountability. Personal accountability tool for me is doing a physical check-in with myself every single week. Nothing's going to keep you more accountable than looking yourself in the mirror or having a picture or a video where you're analysing your body front, back and sides, as I've said before, and you are either going to like what you see or you're not going to like what you see. And if you don't like what you see, or more importantly, you don't feel good about the way you look, then something needs to change. So just to reiterate, if you don't want to track your calories, or it's something that you can't see yourself doing long term, or it just does your head in at certain periods on certain months. Like, for example, we've got some clients who love tracking calories certain periods, and then there's other periods where they don't want to do it. You've got to keep a pulse check on something, right? And there's nothing that's going to be more pinpoint than putting yourself on a scales every day, average body weight, taking a picture of your body, taking a video of your body, and in relation to your weight and your body, do you like what you see? It's yes or no. Do that every single week. If you don't like where your average body weight is going, if you don't like how your physical shape is going, what you then need to do is look at what you did the previous 7 days. You have to analyze what you did the last 7 days, or maybe even the last 14 days. So, for example, if I didn't like the direction at which my weight was going on a given week, and it's never about the weight, remember, it's about how I feel about the weight and the byproducts and the impact that has on my energy. If I don't like that, I know that whatever I've done the previous 7 days, from a food quality, food quantity, and a movement perspective, the balance of that equation is off. I've either eaten too much food or I've not moved enough. The numbers don't lie. There's nothing magic with this. If your weight is going up more than what you want, you've eaten too much food or not moved as much. If you don't like what you see with your physical shape, you're either not lifting hard enough or consistently enough, you're not moving enough, or your food quality and food quantity isn't as good as what you think it is. So if, when you are analyzing your weeks, you don't know what you see on the scales or with your body, look at what you did the previous 7 days and then evaluate. Is food the problem, or is movement the problem, or is it a combination of the two? Then simplify what you need to do for the following 7 days by asking yourself, in relation to the food that I consumed the previous 7 days. So, for example, if you were to put everything on a table that you ate, that you drank, basically that equated to calories, and we're not talking about tracking calories here, but just from a visual perspective, which food, drink, or both is making the biggest dent in calories, or maybe even the quality of calories, okay, that you can either eat less of, remove, or replace. There'll always be one thing, two things, three things at most that are probably going to be holding you back from what you want to see in the mirror and what you want to see on the scales. Then change that moving forward. If food isn't the issue, is it you need to move more? You need to get more steps in, you need a little bit more cardio, or you need to train harder. You need to lift a bit heavier. You need to create more energy out. The one thing I do, which I believe has helped me not obsess over calories as much, is always try and focus on, when I'm evaluating my food and my movement, how can I maximize my movement and my training intent and volume so I can handle more food? I don't have to think as much about the food I put in my mouth when my output is high and consistent and done with purpose. And for me, it's a much more pleasurable way of getting in shape, staying in shape, especially if you don't want to obsess over your calorie management. Optimize your performance with how you train. Be consistent with your average daily steps. So have a weekly total that you just will never go below. And by default, you'll be able to handle more food, whether you track your calories or not. But if you follow that simple process, week to week, month to month, and just keep a pulse check on your average body weight, your visual shape week to week, you're going to be monitoring it, you're going to be measuring it, and what you pay attention to, as I've said in a previous episode, will improve. And you're never going to let it slide to a standard that doesn't really, really make you happy. Okay? So that's that, guys, with this episode. Just as a summary, if you want to achieve a great body without obsessing over calories, you must weigh yourself. I encourage you to do it every single day. You might not want to some days, but you'll never then turn 1 day, 2 days, 3 days into a week or 2 weeks of bad eating and give yourself a mountain to climb. And if you can just stare yourself in the mirror, a picture or video every single week, then it's just going to keep you more in check. But if you decide, well, I don't want to track my calories, and I don't want to do that, then lower your expectations of how you want to look, how you want to feel, and your weight management, because you have to do something. It's no different to business. It's like trying to build a business without having any form of pulse check on the ins, the outs, the team, the infrastructure, the culture. It's deluded. You'd be completely winging it. So we have to do something to keep a pulse check. And that's going to be dependent on each individual person. We have some people, for example, inside Built to Last, who love tracking every calorie to the gram. We have some people who love following a fixed meal plan. And then we have a lot of people who don't. But they all invest in us to achieve an outcome of being in great shape without compromising lifestyle. So they would do no different to what I've shared with you today. You have to do something. You have to do something. As an absolute minimum, every single client of ours, even if they've been a long-standing clients, we encourage them to check in, even on a bad month, twice a month, minimum. But our grade A flyers, the people who are in really peak shape, would be doing that every single week. Because not only that, you're showing that you actually respect your body, respect how you feel about you, like you respect others and how you want to make other people feel. Okay? So that is what I would do. Look, to be fully transparent, even though I've not tracked calories, I've had periods where in my younger days where I did fixed meal plan, weighed everything to the gram, but I still didn't track my calories. I still didn't put it into my fitness pal, but I had consistent food going in my mouth. And that's one thing I would say to sort of wrap this up is, even though I don't track my calories and I don't follow a fixed meal plan, I do generally try and eat similar types of food for Monday to Friday as a minimum, where I've got a consistent quantity of the same types of food and volume going in my mouth, generally week to week. And then I have my variances when I eat out regularly. But don't forget, I order that food that I have week to week, I still order it in through like Deliveroo. So I'm still outsourcing that food, but I have a similar type of foods and similar type of meals from my favorite places for a large proportion. Okay. But sometimes I have portions from these places that are a little bit, I might have more rice in one of my evening meals than the previous day because someone else might be cooking it. But the thing that keeps me in check is when I stand on the scales the next day, that is going to be my indicator over a pattern and a period of a few weeks of whether or not I'm eating too much, too little, or I'm at maintenance food. Okay, so I hope that makes sense. If you're unsure about anything I've gone through today, I would love to hear your biggest questions and challenges. I'm here to solve problems. I'm here to solve value. I'm here to solve problems. I'm here to provide value. And I'm here to tell you the truth, because there are a lot of people talking shit and making food management a lot more complicated than what it needs to be. And it doesn't need to be that way. Okay. And if you haven't already, please subscribe, follow. I really appreciate the support with this channel. And I'll see you next time.